I'm Rachel. 3 weeks ago, I sat in a courtroom, signing away what seemed like my entire life to my soon-to-be ex-husband, Ethan. The grand five-bedroom house in the suburbs, both cars, and the thriving real estate company we'd built together. All of it was going to him. My lawyer pleaded with me not to do it, but I remained steadfast. Ethan's mother, Mrs. Thompson, sat in the gallery seats, a smug smirk on her face. And Lily, Ethan's 25-year-old mistress, took a selfie right there in the courtroom as if to celebrate her victory. Ethan, the man I once thought I'd grow old with, grinned like he'd just won the lottery. But that smile vanished precisely 47 seconds later when his lawyer finished reading the final clause in our divorce agreement. Let me take you back 8 years to when I first met Ethan. I was a young, ambitious accountant at a well-known firm in the city. I was good with numbers and I loved my job. Ethan, on the other hand, was a rising star in the real estate business. We met at a business event, and it was like a scene from a movie. We fell in love quickly, and within a year, we were married. Our early years were a dream. We bought a beautiful colonial house in the suburbs. Ethan had a shiny BMW in the garage, and I drove an old but reliable Toyota. We hosted fancy dinner parties where Ethan charmed our guests while I refilled their glasses. It seemed like we had the perfect life. Ethan took control of our finances from the start. "I'll handle the money. You focus on making this house a home," he said on our honeymoon. I was young and in love, and I wanted to avoid the kind of fights my parents had. My parents were always arguing about money. My father was a spendthrift, and my mother was a saver. Their constant bickering made me desperate to keep the peace in my own marriage, so I agreed. When our son, Jake, was born, everything changed. Ethan convinced me to quit my job and stay home with Jake. "The baby needs his mother," he said. "I make enough for all of us." Reluctantly, I gave up my career. I traded spreadsheets for diapers and client meetings for playdates. As Jake grew older, I tried to keep my accounting skills sharp by taking on some part-time remote work. But Ethan barely noticed. To him, I was just the wife who took care of the house and the child. He was always busy with his business, coming home late and often smelling of a perfume that wasn't mine. One day, about 3 years ago, Jake had a school field trip and I needed his passport. Ethan usually kept our important documents in his locked office, but that day, he left for a meeting and forgotten to lock the door. I found the passport easily, but as I was putting it back, my hand brushed against a folder I'd never seen before. The top envelope was from a bank, with a red final notice stamped on it. My accountant's instincts kicked in, and I opened it. To my shock, there were overdue loans, over $2 million in debt. Ethan's real estate empire was built on a foundation of sand. He'd been hiding the truth from me for years. I didn't panic. Instead, I took out my phone and photographed every document. I knew I needed to be prepared. I called my college friend, Sarah, who worked at a bank. She helped me run a credit check on myself and discovered that Ethan had taken out loans in both our names without my knowledge, forging my signature. Over the next 3 years, I started to build a safety net. I opened a secret savings account and saved whatever I could from my part-time work. I documented every piece of evidence of Ethan's fraud and financial mismanagement. About a year ago, Ethan's behavior changed even more. He started coming home late, upgrading his wardrobe with expensive suits, and talking about a new business associate named Lily. One night, he left his phone on the kitchen counter, and a text message popped up, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Wear the blue tie." I knew then that he was having an affair. 6 months before the divorce hearing, Ethan sat me down and told me he wanted a divorce. "I want the house, the cars, the company," he said, as if he was making a business deal. "You can keep Jake. I'm not interested in a custody battle." I was heartbroken but also relieved. I'd been waiting for this moment for a long time. Ethan's lawyer, Mr. Harris, presented a one-sided divorce agreement. He said it was fair, but it gave Ethan everything and left me with nothing but Jake. Ethan and his lawyer underestimated me, thinking I was just a housewife who didn't understand the legalities. I decided to hire my own lawyer, Mrs.
Green.
She was a tough and experienced divorce attorney. I showed her all the evidence I'd collected over the years. She was impressed by my preparation. We came up with a plan. We drafted an agreement that gave Ethan exactly what he wanted, but buried in the 47th page of a 52-page document was a liability assumption clause. This clause stated that whoever took ownership of the assets would also be responsible for all the debts associated with them. Ethan and his lawyer pressured me to sign the agreement quickly. Lily called me, pretending to be friendly, but really trying to rush me. Ethan sent me threatening emails, but I stood my ground. The day of the divorce hearing arrived. Ethan was confident, wearing his best suit and Rolex. Lily and Mrs. Thompson were in the front row, ready to witness my defeat. As the agreement was being read, Ethan's smile grew wider. But when his lawyer reached page 47 and read the liability assumption clause, his face turned pale. "What's this?" he stammered. I sat there calmly, watching as Ethan realized he'd just signed away his own future. He tried to argue, saying I'd tricked him, but the judge was firm. "You signed the waiver stating you didn't need independent financial review," she said. "This court cannot protect you from your own arrogance." Ethan's world came crashing down. Lily left him, realizing he was in debt. His business went bankrupt and he lost the house. He was forced to move into a small apartment and take a low-paying job. Meanwhile, Jake and I moved into a cozy apartment. I went back to full-time accounting and was quickly promoted. Jake was happy at his new school and had made lots of friends. A year after the divorce, Ethan reached out to me. He looked broken and tired. He said he'd been in therapy and wanted to be a better father to Jake. I decided to give him a chance, but with strict conditions. I've learned that setting boundaries is important for my own peace of mind. Now, as I look back on this journey, I realize that I was stronger than I thought. I was underestimated, but I used that to my advantage. I built a new life for myself and my son, and I'm finally free.